Hi everyone, we have got a new project. It is the Happy Camper Platter. This will be offered as a to-go kit. Your kit will have each of the colors that you need to complete the whole platter. It will come already traced out for you with just the camper. You'll have a diagram like this. That'll be on a bigger piece of paper that's got each of your numbers, which represents a color. Like number 6 is your number 6. Number 1, which is your stripe, is the number 1. So that'll be all laid out. The project will have the words Happy Camper written at the bottom of it here. So you will get the Happy Camper and then a piece of transfer paper to use, and I'll show you how to do that later. But for starters, this is almost, it's like our step-by-step coloring book classes that we almost have. It's pretty much you follow the diagram. If it has a number 6, you paint the number 6 3 coats. If it has a number 1, 3 coats of number 1. And that is how you complete the whole thing. Now, as with most, we usually start with the background first. The background is going to be the number 6. So all of this is going to be 3 coats of the yellow. So we'll do that first. Your paints will probably come like in a little plastic tote, so you won't even have to put it on tin foil like I am. You'll just dip it right out of the little plastic containers. Now with most things that we do, when you have to do the 3 coats, it sounds like a lot, but you'll see this paint dries really, really fast. Don't worry about your edge work. You want to come up to the edges. It's okay if you go over, because our very last step is going to be painting the background, or the whole back of the platter is going to be this same yellow. So if you go over a little bit during this step, it's okay. I thought this is such a cute platter. Now I know there's a lot of people that do go camping, so if the colors on this platter are not what you have in mind, it can be changed. It can be modified to suit whatever camper colors you want. You just have to let me know when you place your order. The color charts that are available would be our standard fired colors. There should be a chart right online, either on our website or on the shopping cart feature listed underneath this project. I'll try to remember to attach the color charts if you wanted to modify this in any way. Now you can tell, looking back at this, it does have the little part of the hitch, but we're not going to worry about that right now. We're going to paint right over that yellow. That can be done in black, and we can do that at the end. It's a whole lot easier than trying to cut around the little details of that one particular hitch. So I'm going to pause for just a minute to get the 3 coats of yellow on the back, number 6. Okay, so I've got the 3 coats of yellow done to the back. And something I should mention, when you get your plate to do, the camper is going to be outlined. It might be outlined in this green, it might be pink, it's whatever marker I had available. This marker is going to burn off, so don't stress about it. If you still see the marker through it after you paint it, that's going to disappear. It's water-based, and once it gets in the hot kiln, it just pretty much evaporates. You do want to keep in mind, though, because it is going to disappear, I've painted up to the outside of the green line. So everything else we do here, you want to actually be sure to cover up that green line, because it is going to disappear. And if it doesn't have some color on it, it's going to show up as white when you get it back. So you want to be careful about that. Now the rest of this is just going to be 3 coats based on whatever numbers the little diagram is going to tell you. So if you just start at the top and work down, the top is 16, which is white. Then we'll go on to 01, which is your pink stripe. The bottom is like an aqua color, which is 28. So we're going to do all of those, and then the light, or not the light, but the windows are the number 6, the same thing as the background. So we'll start doing that. So we are going to do 3 coats of the white, just up to where the stripe starts. We also want to be sure that we go with the white and all of the outside colors, that you take it right up to where that yellow is. Just pretend that green is not even there, or whatever color the marker is. I like these coloring book projects just because you can kind of work at your own pace. You've got a diagram. It's not like you're sitting in a class and someone has told you the color and they're moving too fast, so it's hard for you to keep up. You just work at your own pace. Keep referring back to the diagram. And really the key is your 3 coats and putting the colors where the colors need to be. This whole thing, when you do return it to me, will be clear coated, so it will be food safe. It'll be shiny. Your colors will be much brighter and deeper. And try to do even coats. And choose the kind of paintbrush that works best for the area. The brush I'm using might be a little too small for what I'm doing right now. But again, it's whatever your preference is. If you like working small brushes, use the small brushes. If you can use a bigger brush, it'll go quicker. But then it's a little bit harder to cut into the real detailed areas. So just do whatever works good for you. Okay, so we're going to do 3 coats of each of these colors. I'll pause a minute and I'll check back when I'm done. Okay, so we've gotten 3 coats of white, 3 coats of the pink, 3 coats of the aqua, 3 coats of the gray, which is a 60. So now we're going to just go in and do the 3 coats of the smaller things. So again, following our chart, we got the little hitch there is going to be the 60, which is the gray. The hubcaps are 60. The tires 15, which is black, and then each of these little circles is number 6. Now you'll see the little handle there, but you'll notice it's gone. You just go ahead and paint over that and ignore that. We can add that in towards the end as a detail. So we're going to just go in and do three coats of the gray. That's just 1. I'm going to skip on over and do the first of the 3 coats on the yellow. You'll notice where the other colors meet, you can't see the green line anymore. So you want your colors to touch the other colors so that the marker is completely gone. Like I said, it's going to disappear, but you still don't, you want paint, some kind of paint to be where that marker is so that it doesn't burn off and then show just white. And actually where this one is such a small, you just do real heavy and then go back and do 1 more heavy there, just like almost just drop some color in. That's enough for the, I guess that would be the tail lights. So we'll switch back to the gray. It's going back and forth, switching between each colors, kinds of gives the other colors time to dry enough so you can go back and put your next coat on. while the yellow and the gray is drying, we're going to do the black of the tire. Now, black is one of the really good colors in that it's so heavily concentrated and it's such a dark color, you can get away with doing just 2 coats instead of the 3 that we would normally do. But also, because it is so dark, it does cover up your other colors. So be careful that where you paint the black is where you want the black. Because like I said, it's going to cover up any color that you go over. So we're going to just do a single coat of black, and then we'll come back and do the second coat after it's dried. Now if you follow what the finished piece looks like, you may have noticed there is outlining of the whole camper. Some people love to outline. I do. Some people absolutely hate it. That's the part that stresses them out. Might keep them from even doing this. Don't worry about it. If you want to do it, great. You'll have a small enough brush with your kit that you can do your outlining. That's your last step. If you just really completely just do not want to do it, I can do that for you. I don't know, maybe just when you return your platter, just throw in a couple bucks and I'll do your lettering and your outline if that's what you want. It's one of those things, it seems hard at first, but you'll notice the more you do it, the more relaxed you'll get with doing the outline, and it won't be difficult at all. It's just one of those things, more practice makes perfect kind of thing. Okay, so we're going to go back and do our final gray on the hitch. And final gray here, making sure not to smear any of your black if your black is still trying to dry. And then our final coat of the yellow in the windows. Now, I put so much yellow in that you don't even need to put more. I mean, you can. Nothing bad's going to happen if you put one more coat, but that should be it for that. I'm going to do one more coat of the black on the tires. And then by now you're probably wondering, how are you going to get the words Happy Camper? You can do it. You got a few options. Like I said, one, I can do it for you. You can also, if you have like a different kind of printing that you prefer to what comes with the kit, you can just freehand in black your own words. You can put them above the camper, below the camper. For this sample, we're going to do it below. And if you are going to do it yourself, if you're going to follow the pattern, I'm going to show you how to do that too. So what you're going to get in your kit, let's see. You're going to get the words Happy Camper. You're going to get this transfer. It's like a red carbon. You're going to see one side is darker than the other. The darkest side, which is the side that you want down. And we're going to be sure not to touch the tire for right now. Then you place Happy Camper where you want it to be. So I think that looks pretty centered underneath it. Now you're going to notice that the letters that say Happy Camper are bubble letters. You don't have to trace around, let me see if I can get it real close. You're not going to have to trace the whole bubble. Just trace inside of that line. You can do that with a pen or a pencil, it doesn't matter. Just something that's got a really good point. It doesn't even have to be something that writes, just something that has a pretty good point. Trace through the center of each letter. Now just like the marker, I'll show you when I lift this. The red that you're going to see when we lift this paper away, this is going to burn off too. But what it does is it gives you a really good lettering kind of template to follow when you're doing your lettering. Now for those that, like I said, have a different kind of print, if you want to just grab another piece of paper and kind of practice the font that you want here, do that first, size the way you want it, then you could just take your piece of paper and you could do the same thing with this transfer. Put the red down and just trace your letters over top. That gives you a chance to kind of perfect how it's going to look before you actually go to work on your plate. So now to do the Happy Camper. The Happy Camper and all the outlining is all going to be done in number 15 black. Again, since 15 is so dark, you don't have to go over it 3 times, which is awesome. Just have to really get it really good once. And you can see how it's a little bit thicker than the line that I traced. That's why I said don't worry about trying to trace the bubble, because your paint stroke is going to fill up what would have been the bubble. If you just want it a little fatter, just go over it again. This is my favorite part. It might seem weird, but I don't know. I think just the outlining kind of sharpens up your edges and just gives it a really good finish touch. And have fun with it. Don't be scared. I mean, it's just paint. If you don't practice, you know, it's going to be hard to ever get your printing or whatever down so that it's easier for you. But what's good is because it is black and you only have to go over it 1 time, you only have to follow that line once. You don't have to keep repeating the same line over and over and over. And if you don't want the words Happy Camper, like if you wanted your, I don't know, your last name or some other saying or whatever, like I said, you could just trace that out on another piece of paper, size it the way you want to fit this project, and then just use that red transfer paper to transfer your design on here, and then go over it with paint. But I do like to dip each time before I go on to the next letter, just so I know I have enough paint on my brush. Okay, and I had said not to worry about doing the doorknob. We would do that later. Find any of your paint brushes, and you're going to use the stick end. Just dip it in your black. Find about where the doorknob is going to be, and just do 1 dot. Doorknob's done. You don't have to build that up 3 coats either. For the rest of this, I can still have some of my yellow is drying. I'm going to go on and do some of the other parts. So we're going to just outline the hitch. And use your tracing that came with the kit as your reference. You can kind of tell. Looking at this, there's the hitch, but then there's also that little squiggly thing that goes through it. So we're going to kind of just copy that. Just imagine if that line went all the way through, and then you want it to stop about even with where the bottom of the tire would be. So that part's done. Then we're going to just go along and we're going to outline everything else. When you're outlining, a little trick is when you're dragging it through the black, to just kind of twist it as you go, and that'll kind of keep a pretty good point on your brush. And I'm kind of resting my finger on this so I don't go through any of my paint. I don't really want to rest my hand on top of what I just did. So I'm just resting my finger on it. And just kind of turn the plate as you go. You'll find a comfortable spot to rest your hand. And once we get done outlining the whole thing and it's had a really good chance to dry, you can flip it over and paint the whole background or the whole back of the platter yellow, or you can leave it white. I mean, it doesn't have to be painted, but if you want it finished off to match the front, you would go ahead and just paint that yellow as well. Regardless of whether you paint it, like I said, I'm going to clear coat it when I dip it in glaze, so that's going to make it food safe. So whether you paint it or you don't paint it, it will be shiny, it'll be clear, and it will be food safe. And you'll find what's comfortable for you. Sometimes just kind of tilting the plate that you're working on works, laying it flat. Sometimes I'll even sit it in my lap and do it. I find when you have to do something horizontally, if you can kind of rest your hand down here, and just kind of move your wrist a little bit. Like for this line. And then down here as well. See how the black is kind of sharpening out your points of the pink? Because sometimes it's hard to get that real sharp point when you're just filling in colors. So the black kind of sharpens that up for you. Okay, coming right along. So now we need to, I'm going to do the door. When I'm starting to outline something, like I like to start where there's already some black. Don't have to, but like where this was already black, I just started that. That way you can't really tell where you start and stop. Okay. Okay, all that we have left now are just outlining the little windows. And then the back of the plate, if you choose to do that. You can also initial the front, or you can put your initials on the back. or even the year so you can remember when you did this. I think this is super cute for the summer. I know a lot of people go camping, so how cute would this be? And then the last little part down here. Okay, so we have got Happy Camper Plate. Once I get it all fired, I'll post a picture of the finished product, and if this is something you're interested in doing, you should be able to order it online. We'll get it all ready and you can pick it up at Ceramic Zone. Thank you.